Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today I'm sharing with you guys my take on set 15 Finn. I've mentioned several times like the set 15 archetypes aren't all that crazy as far as like the meta is concerned, but when the Finn archetype was revealed, I was pretty excited about it because it looks like it's a very interesting archetype, very creative design wise, and I've been putting some time into it. Wanted to share it with you guys. Anyways, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and if you guys want to help support the channel, many ways to do so down in the description. But if you want to pick up any of the Finn cards or buy any trading card game cards for that matter, use my link in the description to TCG Player. Really does help out a lot. Anyways, we'll get into this, but before we get into the profile, guys, I gotta talk about this thing that I talked about many times. Some of you guys might be tired of hearing it. There is still an undecided rule for Finn. Now, I don't know exactly when this video is going up in relation to when I upload it, because like I mentioned in an earlier video, I'm pre-recording a lot of videos so that I can upload throughout the week before Nats, because I'll be away from home that week, so I want to have videos for you guys to watch on the channel. So as of the day of recording, the Q&A for Finn has not been posted. You guys can see I have the Q&A tab up here. It's not been posted. Maybe when you watch this video it will have been posted, and just know that if it goes one way or the other, in my opinion, the deck is much better or worse. So here's the ruling question. Many of the Finn cards say if your opponent has a skilless, a battle card, or a unison in play, do X, Y, and Z. And the question is, does that skilless word apply to both battle card and unison, or is it just a skilless battle card or any unison? Now, if it's a skilless battle card and any unison, the deck is much better. But if it's the other way around, where skilless applies to both, the deck is a little bit worse in my opinion, because your opponent has more options to play around your effects, and a lot of cards can end up being dead in your hand. That's just my opinion though. Again, hopefully the FAQ for that is up by the time that this video is out, and then you guys know my opinion on where this stands. I'll be referencing cards in this video basically as if that ruling is still undecided, giving my opinions on, you know, one way or the other. But yeah, wanted to get that out of the way. Sorry for the long-winded intro. Let's get into the deck. We have the leader first. When this card attacks, draw one. When a card is placed on this card, draw one card, add cards from life to hand so you have 6 left, and flip over. Activate main once per turn. If all your energy is black, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card. Then awaken. When life is 4 or less, draw 2 cards and flip over. So that's the really cool thing about the deck as far as the leader goes. You're basically is like pretty much punished as soon as they play a non-barrier battle card, because you get to awaken very quickly. On the awaken side, permanent, this card gets 5,000 power for every card under it, and there are some ways to get cards under it during your opponent's turn, so it's almost like a senzu bean type of effect. At the end of your turn, play all battle cards under this card in your opponent's battle area with their skills negated for the game. Then place all the cards under this card in the owner's drop areas. Activate main once per turn. If all your energy is black, draw a card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, place it under this card, then choose one keyword skill on the card, and the leader gains that keyword skill. So pretty similar to the green Boo deck from set 14, but it's not, you know, requiring you to only take a 4 or less, which is kind of nice. So going into the main board, we have our 1-drop Toa calling the Horde. So this is really good because our deck is pretty reliant on a 2-drop unison. This can search it out, and this also searches out like 90% of our deck, so this is really good. I do also like the Spirit Boost effect, where you can take a card under your leader and put it in the drop. So basically you can prevent your opponent from getting a big beater back after you use your leader skill. It'll go back with its skills negated anyway, but like just if it's like a 25k attacker or 30k attacker and you have the ability to just get rid of it totally, why not, right? That's just a good extra effect. Then we have Finn Union Absorber. So this is the first card that's really impacted by that ruling of whether your opponent has to have a skillless battle card and then any unison, or skillless battle card or skillless unison, right? So this card basically lets you suck up your opponent's unison. They do get it back eventually with its skills negated, but if it requires your opponent to have a skillless unison and they only have a unison in play, you'd have to cast this card for 2 before you can use its combo effect for 1 to basically do the same thing. So that is kind of one of the downsides. It makes this card cost more energy if it's ruled you know, not in favor of the deck. But anyway, it's still a good card. Take your opponent's unison. They will get it back with 2 markers, so you got to keep in mind their free counterplays are still online, but they lose a lot of effects, and a lot of unisons nowadays draw cards, so limiting your opponent's draws is very good. You kind of almost make them have to recommit to a new unison if they want to start drawing cards again. And then some decks that are really reliant on unisons, they feel the effects of that even more. Then we have Absorption of Doom, just like a free Nimbus type card for the deck. It kind of sucks this card's not like super exciting design wise, because it's just kind of like a duplicate of Nimbus, but it's still a really good card. The fact that you can play it for free in this deck is really nice. So we played 3 copies. We are definitely playing more of like a control-y black deck, mid-rangey black deck, so we want to be able to make sure we can get to those later parts of the game that we want to get to. Then we have Finn, the all absorbing. So we have 3 copies, 8 drop, 25k. We have auto spirit boost 1. If your leader card's a black Finn, when this card's played, choose all your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and place them under your leader card. So that's basically our board wipe. It does require spirit boost 1 though, so we do want to have a unison in play. Activate main for 3. If you have 4 or more energy and you place a card under your leader in the owner's drop, play this card from your hand. So it's another way to deny your opponent from getting cards back that you absorbed. So that's really nice. Activate main once per turn, place 1 card under your leader in the drop, switch the card to active mode, so you can do it even a second time and get another attack with this card. So the fact that it's a huge board wipe is really good, but we do want to have a unison in play to make sure we can get there. Next up, we have Skill Hunter Toa. So we have counter attack, spirit boost 1, play this card. Permanent, if it's your opponent's turn, they have a skilless battle card or unison card in play, which again depends on that ruling. Reduce energy cost this card in your hand by 1, and then auto, if your leader is a black Finn card, when this card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less and place it under your leader card. So it gives you some immediate spot removal. That's one of the ways to get a battle card under your leader during your opponent's turn, so you had that like sensu bean-ish type of effect. Just a good card, and we need Toa names in the deck for a chain that we play later on. Then we have 4 copies of the Bardock Unison. Very simple. Pay 2, play it, +1 draw. -2, your opponent has to warp a card in hand if they want to attack with battle cards. I choose to play this Unison and no other Unisons because, in my opinion, the Boo Unison that comes with this deck is kind of weak because that Unison draws cards, but it relies on your opponent to play into your strategy. As where if your opponent chooses not to play into your strategy, the Boo Unison is much weaker. So I'd rather just +1 draw a card on my own terms. I think that's the best way to go about it, and Toa can search it, which is very nice. Then we have Demon God Deborah, Skill Hunter, auto limit 1 when this card attacks, draw 1, and then activate main for a black. If your opponent has a skillless battle card or unison in play, play this card from your hand. So if this card is a 1-drop, the majority of the time, this card is absolutely incredible. But again, it relies on that ruling of whether or not it requires a skillless unison or any unison. So this card's value goes up or down depending on that ruling. If it's ruled the way where it's any unison in play, I'd consider playing 3 copies of this card for sure. Then we have 4 copies of Vegeta Super Combo. We're playing a mono black deck. You might as well just play it. Although you're not always going to get to 4 life, depending on matchup, but you should be able to get there most of the time. People have to attack your leader to kind of win the game, right? And then we have 3 copies of Petrification. So I'm not playing Power Burst in this deck. We could play it to like pick up Toa, for example, but we actually want Toa in the warp. So Petrification for like a control black deck, I think is just the best option. I think it's a really good card. And now we get into our main meat of the deck, our Mira chains basically. So we're playing 4 copies of the new TP Mira Vow to the Creator. So this is an overwhelm 3. When this card's played, draw 1, then warp a card in hand, and that's really important for getting your Toas to the warp, right? So we have 7. You'll probably have 1 in your hand. Play this card, put 1 in there, and then Union Absorb for 3. If you have 4 or more energy, place 1 Toa from your warp under this card. If there's a Toa or Android card, choose a mirror with energy cost of 7 in your hand or warp and play it on top of this card in active mode. So basically what you'll have there is you'll have like a Mira 7 in the drop, let's say, and a Toa in hand. You'll overwhelm this, you'll warp the Toa, draw a card, and we're really abusing the fact that our leader is an android. I don't really know much about Finn like lore wise because he's kind of deep in the Dragon Ball Heroes lore for me, but he is an android. That was one of the first things I noticed about the card. So you can play all this Mira stuff, and this new TP is really nice because of that effect to set up your warp for the Toa, because we're not really overwhelming a ton in this deck, right? So that's really good. We're also playing this chain here, Mira Faithful Servant at 4 and Mira Explosion of Energy at 4. So basically with Mira, you can play him for free as long as you have no battle cards. And then for 3 energy, you can play a Mira with a cost of 5 in your hand. Now there is another 5 cost Mira that you can play and go into, and I was messing around with that, but it was just a little bit too inconsistent to get the Union Absorb off without Vow to the Creator. So we're playing 4 copies of Mira Explosion of Energy. I don't think this card's seen too much play in like black Android decks, but it's pretty good when you pull off the combo. So basically you use Faithful Servant's effect to play this, and then you have the effect of critical barrier. Auto, when this card's played, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and send them to the warp, and then auto, choose 2 cards in your hand, send them to the warp, and one of your opponent attacks, negate the attack, and then negate the skill for the turn. So basically the curve goes like this, right? Turn 1 Toa, turn 2 Bardock Unison, and now you probably have comboed off for Toa, or maybe your opponent kills it, whatever. Then turn 3, because you have no battle cards, you can play Mira Faithful Servant. Then you can activate main, go into Mira Explosion of Energy. That's going to allow you to take 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. And then the next turn, you should be able to go into Mira Vow to the Creator, and then go into Mira Creator Absorbed, taking 3 cards out of their hand, going for a ginormous double strike, and now Mira actually sticks around. So you're building a huge board. Mira Explosion of Energy on turn 3, Mira Creator Absorbed on turn 4, none of which which are going away. Explosion of Energy even has the barrier to stick around even further. So that's the curve of how I've been playing the deck, right? That's kind of like the play guide for this video, right? So that's kind of how I've been doing it. It's working out quite well. Even though we don't, like, you know, fuel our drop super crazy in this deck, Overwhelm 3 is not very difficult to meet by turn 4, so that's very, very feasible. And now for the final few cards of the deck, we have 2 copies of Deborah, Demonic Defender. Again, another card that kind of relies on that ruling, but otherwise still a good card. I like having 6 1-drops for your turn 1 because I really hate, like, just having energy on a certain turn go to waste, especially turn 1, because there's not too much we can do with that energy if we don't have a 1-drop. And the final 2 cards of the deck, we have Further Instruction Champa because you want to be able to end the game on any attack that you want. And we have 1 copy of Space Time Unraveler, but this could be so many SCRs, of course. Heroine's Lineage, Panzino even from sets 15. You have a lot of options there. And I think this deck is pretty budget overall if you choose to play Heroine's Lineage. The Mira TP might be a bit expensive on release, but I suspect this to be more of a rogue deck than anything, even if the ruling goes in the favor of this deck. So with that in mind, I would say just wait a bit for this TP to go down in price. There even is another Mira Overwhelm you can play in place of this. It's a bit of an older card, but it costs 4 instead of 3, and it doesn't help you set up your warp. So you have to be a little more cognizant of putting like Toas and Miras in your warp and whatnot, but still a good card to replace it with. Should be a pretty budget build overall. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the profile. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.